Dr. Selath, Namesh Selath.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those kind words. My dear friends and colleagues, I'll proceed with this talk. The whole theme of this series of lectures today in this particular session is on the delicate minutiae that we deal with in doing embryo transfers. And Gautam rang me up and he said that I want you to discuss this vital aspect of how the time difference would make a difference to success or failures. And here I am in front of you talking about this topic. Basically, important aspects are the prognostic factors. If you look at the slide, increased pregnancy rates have been described in cases where embryo transfer was performed in a traumatic way, in the absence of blood or mucus in the catheter. And interim pictures will show you the entire process. Of course, this is oocyte retrieval. In the absence of bacterial contamination is a very plus point, using soft catheters, not touching the uterine fundus, performing a mock transfer, and employing ultrasound guidance. And therefore, the technical aspects which deal with such a transfer, where you have difficult transfers involved, and this happens to many of us when we are handling these patients. What happens thereon? There is a higher frequency of endometrial damage, there is presence of blood, there is a triggering of uterine contractions due to cervical manipulation, and all these factors are known to impair embryo implantation. Well, when these embryos are looked into the microscope, we find them that sometimes the output is not adequate. It's a very sad story when we find that we have dealt with a situation wherein there was mucus in the catheter. When you check it up, and then you know that these results may not be forthcoming. Now, difficult embryo transfers are usually laborious, and they are definitely time consuming, because whenever you have found that there was some problem in transferring, the prolonged duration of embryos inside the transfer catheter, during that time the embryos get exposed to environmental temperature, and when you look at and when you compare this with the culture medium outside, that is what being done by our biologist, you always are worried that how much time has elapsed. Now, difficult embryo transfers are usually laborious and time consuming, because again the lower pregnancy rates associated with difficult embryo transfers could partly be due to light, and the catheter composition could have a detrimental influence on embryo viability. Still, we are looking onto those studies, what sort of material of the ET catheters would be most embryo friendly, and we still have very few papers on that. So when the embryos are loaded and transferred, the case studies would include, of course, our patients. Now, what we did was we evaluated the impact of duration of interval loading and discharging embryos on IVF outcome. The study population consisted of fresh embryo transfers following self-in vitro fertilization or intracytoplasmic sperm injection (ICSI) cycles performed at our center between November 2009 and July 2010. And when these embryos were handled carefully in a separate chamber incubator, the mock transfer was involved, where we performed 3 to 4 weeks before oocyte pickup. Embryo transfer was performed with patients in the lithotomy position. A bivalve speculum was placed to expose the cervix, and the embryos were then viewed under the microscope. I'm showing you some of the slides of our old archives, the first ever embryos ever produced by any center in Gujarat. Transfer technique was where the exocervix was cleaned with medical medium. Cervical mucus was gently aspirated. Concurrently, in the adjacent embryo culture laboratory, the morphological appearance of the embryos was evaluated, and the best embryos were selected with a soft Cook ET transfer catheter. And these were the type of embryos that we would get. The transfer technique would involve embryos being drawn into insertion catheter with the aid of a disposable tuberculin syringe, using the 3-drop procedure, in which the embryos in transfer medium are separated by a bubble of air from a preceding and following a drop of medium. So some transfers we could easily do at the embryos which were almost 8-cell stage, and the embryo transfer was always performed under ultrasound guidance. There is a lot of work being done on ultrasound guidance, and many papers have been presented today and yesterday. Transfers were classified as easy. We classified these transfers into 3 grades. Easy, no cervical tenaculum needed; of moderate difficulty, where tenaculum was needed; and difficult transfers where cervical tenaculum and hysterometer were needed. Hysterometer is a modified uterine sound which helps us to assess the cavity as well as manipulate. Now, going through such transfers, in cases with an easy mock transfer, the technique was performed as follows. With already embryos ready loaded, ET was tried with the soft inner sheath of the catheter without the outside sheath. So it's not compulsory to use the outside sheath all the time if you are confident that the cavity is smooth. If in this way it was not possible to access the uterine cavity, the catheter was gently pushed by means of dissection forceps. And somewhere in, we have also tried blastocyst transfers, which have been successful in this way. In cases with a easy mock transfer, if it was still not possible to assess the uterine cavity, the outer sheath was employed. Mock transfers classified as moderately difficult or difficult, immediately before the actual ET, another mock ET was performed, first only with the inner sheath, and if this failed, with the outer sheath. The embryo transfer was then performed on basis of mock transfer results. Now, in very rare cases, about 10 cases where it was not possible to assess the uterine cavity as described, a cervical tenaculum was used, and in 2 cases the help of the hysterometer was needed. The catheter was carefully removed after a period of 10 seconds and then checked under microscope and flushed for embryos whether they were retained with the lumen or adherent to the outside. Again, where after ET, the patient was transferred to recovery area, allowed to empty her bladder within 10 to 15 minutes of embryo transfer and discharge 45 minutes later. Now, our results will be clear on the table. What was the interval loading and discharging? The duration of the ILD was significantly lower in conceptional than in non-conceptional cycle, average 57.5 seconds to comparison of 70.7 seconds. The remaining characteristics were similar in both the groups, and when easy transfers were compared with those with moderate difficulty, a remarkable shorter interval of 59 versus 165.8 seconds was reported. If you look at the comparison table, here, of course, we are looking at conceptional cycles versus non-conceptional cycles. In women's age in years, if you compare the differences, they were very clear between the 2 groups. Again, time in seconds was observed with higher pregnancy rates. We have used a normal statistical evaluation, the chi-squares test, and the p-values. Now, when only easy transfers were considered, the duration of the discharge and loading time was significantly lower in conceptional than in non-conceptional cycles, 51.4 versus 61.5 seconds. There were no differences in the duration of the interval loading in non-easy transfers between conceptional and non-conceptional cycles.